Every gardener has done it, freshly mowed the lawn, scooped up the grass clippings and dumped them straight into the garden beds thinking it's free fertilizer. It seems harmless, even smart. After all, grass breaks down fast and is full of nitrogen. But what most people don't realize is that this one habit quietly destroys the very life that keeps soil fertile. Worms, those tireless soil builders, start dying off or leaving the bed altogether. Within weeks, the soil hardens, smells sour, and plants begin to weaken. The reason isn't the grass itself, it's how it's used. When handled the wrong way, grass clippings turn from a nutrient source into a suffocating, oxygen-blocking barrier that poisons worms and microbes alike. Yet when used properly, those same clippings can rebuild humus faster than compost and multiply worm populations by the hundreds. The difference lies in the method, and that's what this guide reveals. Fresh grass turns deadly when it's laid on thick and wet. Fresh grass may look harmless, but it's actually one of the most unstable organic materials you can add to soil. It contains around 80% moisture and an extremely high nitrogen content, which is why it decomposes so rapidly. But when a thick layer of fresh clippings is laid down, the blades stick together and form a dense, airless mat. Without oxygen, decomposition becomes anaerobic, meaning it's driven by bacteria that produce toxic byproducts like ammonia and methane. The smell is your first warning sign. That sharp, sour odor means your grass layer has gone bad. Worms can't breathe in that environment, and their skin is easily burned by ammonia. Most escape downward if they can, leaving behind lifeless soil with little microbial activity. To prevent this, fresh clippings must always be applied thinly, no more than an inch deep per layer. If you have a large pile, spread it out in the sun for a day or two first. Drying removes excess moisture and prevents compaction. Once it's slightly crisp and light, it can safely be used as mulch or compost material without suffocating soil life. The second mistake gardeners make is forgetting the carbon to nitrogen balance. Grass clippings are what composters call a green material, extremely nitrogen heavy. To keep decomposition safe and steady, it must be mixed with brown materials that are high in carbon. Without this balance, the pile overheats. Worms die at temperatures above 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and a pure grass pile can reach 150 degrees within days. The correct balance is 2 parts dry browns to 1 part grass by volume. Mix shredded leaves, straw, cardboard or sawdust with your clippings before applying them anywhere near the soil. The browns absorb excess nitrogen, allow airflow and moderate heat so microbes can work without burning the worms out. For smaller garden setups, layering works best. Start with 1 inch of dry mulch or shredded leaves, then add ½ an inch of grass, followed by another inch of mulch on top. This prevents overheating and keeps moisture levels just right. Within a week, worms will start moving upward, drawn by the bacteria feeding on the balanced mix. Most people think worms hate grass clippings. They don't. What they hate is oxygen loss and high temperature. When clippings start to rot in dense pockets, they generate heat and trap moisture, turning that section of soil into a temporary swamp. If you dig into it after a few days, you'll see that slimy, dark green layer that smells foul. That's dead material, not humus. One simple test is to grab a handful of your clippings and squeeze. If water drips out, they're too wet to use. Mix in more dry matter until they feel just damp like a wrung-out sponge. This is the right texture for composting and top dressing without suffocating your worms. It keeps the temperature mild, promotes aerobic breakdown, and lets oxygen reach the soil surface. If you have the patience, the best way to use grass is to compost it first for at least 2 weeks before introducing it to garden beds. This short aging period allows bacteria and fungi to break down the most volatile nitrogen compounds. When the pile cools and smells earthy, it's ready. This semi-decomposed grass becomes irresistible to worms. You can use it as a soil amendment or spread a 1-inch layer under your mulch. It's already microbe-rich, and the breakdown process produces the exact kind of bacterial food worms love. If you feed worms in a vermicompost system, you can mix this aged grass in small handfuls with shredded paper or dry bedding. It'll speed up casting production dramatically, without causing heat buildup. Sometimes gardeners realize too late that their grass pile has gone bad. It's already slimy, black and stinking, but even then it can be repaired. The quickest fix is to turn it with a fork to reintroduce air, then spray it down with a compost tea or diluted worm leachate at a 1:10 ratio. This reintroduces beneficial aerobic microbes that overpower the foul anaerobes. Within a few days the smell will disappear, and the pile will start to resemble usable compost again. Once revived, just mix that material into the top few inches of your garden soil or compost bin. It will feed microbial life rather than destroy it. Over time, it transforms into a dark, crumbly layer rich with worm activity, a complete turnaround from where it started. Grass clippings are a nitrogen booster, not a primary mulch. Think of them as a microbial stimulant rather than a soil cover. Always combine them with high-carbon materials and use them to activate compost or feed existing mulch layers. When grass is treated as an additive instead of a standalone layer, it transforms into one of the fastest ways to feed your worms and build organic matter naturally. The secret to living soil isn't in fancy fertilizers. It's in using what you already have wisely. And honestly, few materials are more powerful than grass clippings when they're handled correctly. They can either destroy your soil biology or rebuild it in weeks. The outcome depends entirely on how you mix, balance, and time their use. If this helped you understand how to turn your lawn waste into a worm-building tool instead of a worm killer, make sure to subscribe to Soil Doctor for more grounded, science-based gardening methods that keep your soil alive year-round. Share this with a friend who still dumps grass straight on their beds. They'll thank you once they see their worm numbers return.